Hello, my name is Mitch and I draw Blood Force. And we're back at it with page 4 of issue 2. And we're going to kind of change up the scenery here a bit. So, previously, we've been looking at the interior of Rancor's office. That's been the first 3 pages of this issue, which is kind of a. It's a dull way to start the issue. It's not bad for recap, though. And it's got some good possibilities for humor, which I exploited as much as I could, I think. So now we switch it up, um, and we're going to be moving to Popo here. And if anybody watched the end of issue 1, Popo was captured by the clerk, or at least it was implied he was. We're confirming it here. So this is basically where Popo is going to wake up and deal with the fact that he's been captured by the clerk. And this panel here presented me a few problems. Um, yeah, that head's too low and too big. That's true. Good call. This isn't. See, this seems like it looks okay until you did that. You did the outer line of the back there, and yeah, no, now it looks like he's shifted over to the left. And I wasn't sure what to do with this hand. Yeah, I'll fix it in a second. But yeah, let's put some more detail on him here. But yeah, this is just it feels like I don't think I've drawn Popo in like a month or two, at least not for my comic. So it's nice to get back to him here, and he'll get some extended time because he's the Wolverine essentially. So you need to focus on him more than the others every once in a while. Now right now was some fairly tight penciling for me. You know, this is tighter than I usually do anyway. And I decided to get rid of um, the badge there, the necklace, because the big reveal at the end of this page here is that the cleric have his wallet. So if they've got his wallet, it makes sense that they also took his badge and like his guns and something else here and there. Not his headband. It's important he keeps his headband on for plot reasons. You'll see. And yeah, this was an idea for this panel, but no, this looks like junk. Yeah, I yes, the proportions there were bad, but also just that's a boring ass looking panel. So okay, let's move Popo over here. So that looks like a better template at least. That arm doesn't look very good anymore though. I don't know that it really did before. Yeah, and just like trying to figure. This is a weird one. Trying to figure out what kind of straps to put on an alien examination table, or whether it's straps or if it's like a grate or what. I eventually decided on straps because you look up like alien examination table, and you don't get very many options on like Google image search. It got me to the point where I was questioning like that is a thing, right? Alien examination tables, like people look that shit up. No, maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, that hand in the middle panel there does not look okay. Like the entire forearm looks wrong. I'm aware it gets fixed. I don't know about that hair either, but oh. And this is just a kind of a storytelling sequence. And I guess I kind of break a rule here with crossing the plane. He's looking one way and then he's looking the next in the next panel. I think it felt like it would be too boring if I had him basically had it like slowly zooming out, panel to panel. There's no reason to do that. And this panel here is going to be a classic dude on an examination table shot. It should be reasonably easy to draw. I will say the clerk I put in here are kind of huge. And sometimes they are and sometimes they're not. So these guys here are not going to be just... That's not what all clerk are going to look like. This is kind of along the lines of... like... I'm trying to think of more examples than just putties off of Power Rangers. Like foot soldiers and Ninja Turtles, like, you know, just the regular Cobra soldiers in Cobra. If we're looking for a Liefeld example, it would be like those tube robots. They're just they're foot soldiers. So we'll get different variations here. It's handy though that they still have like humanoid musculature, apart from the cricket legs. Yeah, this page took me a while. I didn't fully realize it at the time, but like this is on faster speed than usual, and it's still like a 40-minute video, I think. Yeah, it should be in that neighborhood. So, oh well. So, bunch of you probably won't make it till the end of this, so I'll say now, if you want to see more Blood Force, go over to my Patreon. Link is in the description. And go there and subscribe, because I need subscribers to actually turn this into a comic book that is published and everything. I appreciate your help there. I'll shill again at the end, don't worry. But yeah, no, most of you probably aren't going to get that far. So you erased in the first one, but not the second one. That would have been smart, eh? Oh. And managed to get through this page without having to paste a new panel over anything, so that's nice. And kind of limited dialogue. Which means it is mostly just drawing. This was all the dialogue that was scripted for this issue. But then once I started inking, and of course I started with the bottom row of panels because that's where all the interesting stuff to ink is. And yeah, no, started inking that with no dialogue, and then went, this is not imagey. And just honestly, it's not very interesting. I mean, it's fine. It looks all right, and but it's just a dude waking up. So, but if we were to put in some Popo dialogue over that, that would make it better, right? But I would have had to notice to right around here in order to get it into effect. But didn't do it. Did tape off everything so that to avoid bleeding over into the gutters here. Wasn't exactly necessary. It never really is. But like every once in a while, it's just like, why not? And of course, as is tradition, Popo always has dramatic lighting on him. In this case, his face is lit from above, even though he's lying flat on a table with a light directly over him. So, like, technically it should be shining in his face, so none of these shadows in his eyes should be there. But like, you know, try telling him that, right? Right? It's not gonna work. Nope. Here's no good. There we go. Better. And this is actually tougher than it looks. It's trying to fill in a face that's blown up this much. Particularly that this area here. I eventually went with the close up of Emp from Wildcats #1. I went that kind of direction, where it's just cross-hatched over the expanse of his cheek or his jowl, whatever. Um, like honestly, if I wasn't doing like a pastiche, I would never do this. I'd either just find a way to texture it regularly or like leave it and like maybe do a bit of variation in colors, but like there's not a lot needs to be there. You look at a photo of a dude and like that area there's not going to be very much going on really. But you can't have an area that large on a page without cross hatching. So naturally, just cross hatch the shit out of it. It makes it look like his face is a bit of a cavern, but it's okay. The coloring will kind of help sway it back the other way. That helps a bit. Yeah, a little bit of feathering along the edge of the jaw. It's all right. And then rendering this coat is always a little tough. I'm starting to come up with some interesting textures that I kind of like. It's a shame because, you know, if I was like doing this where I was doing a page a day, if I could do that, or even a page every 2 days, you know, I'd be drawing often enough where I'd work out most of these textures pretty quick. As it is, though, I don't know. I don't know how much of this is even going to stick. That's all. I mean, this stuff all looks all right. It's a bit too detailed for what I'm going for, I think. And really getting that strain when he wakes up and he's strapped down. Yeah, I think that looks all right. Did I? I don't think I redrew that hand yet. It's a little hard to tell with where the camera's placed. Oh no, I didn't either. That's right. I got right to the inks on this. Yeah, and like, yeah, I'm still, convinced that it was fine how it was to the point where I started inking. And I like those arm veins. But no, the way the arm was, now at least I redrew the hand. Yeah, before I got to the inking stage. So I recognized that was not good enough. That one there is still kind of twisted. Yeah. It's tough because you got to keep turning it. Does that look all right? I mean, yeah, kind of. Yeah, not bad. Not 100% where you wanted it, but yeah, not bad. And around here, I remember. Oh, wait a minute. Popo usually wears gloves, and I think probably had a moment of crisis where it's like, would they have taken off the gloves? Would they have taken off these bracelets? Next time we see him, Popo will be minus pretty much all of his accessories. I guess it's kind of spoilers that he doesn't really escape right away here. And that, see, now that arm doesn't look any kind of good because it changed the angle of the hand. So yeah, I had to white out all that veiny stuff I was doing. Vary up the cross hatching on the face a little bit there because it was a little bit too regular. And now this looks okay. That arm. Better. Yeah, I agree. Trying to still get a couple of veins in. I don't know how, it doesn't really come across as much. It's a bit more subtle. And the standard crotch shine that you usually get in these. And decent enough rendering on the pants here. It looks like a 3D object. I shaded beside the leg a little bit, right? I think I did. Hmm. And yeah, I did this on the operating table. Basically, just it is a texture I've used in this before in issue 1, but I don't think it got filmed. And basically, this is just adding, like I said, texture. It does give it kind of it feels like a metal feel, a little bit. I definitely did not want to just cross hatch the whole thing. Like try to get straight lines going all the way across that thing. I can't do that. But I don't mind this, and it gives it that kind of like uneven metal feel. And then put like a couple of, yeah, like dents or cuts in there, like it's been used a little bit. I think that looks all right. Yeah, definitely reinforce those lines a bit. And just put some kind of random stuff in the background here. Cross hatching, my old friend. That's always fun watching blacks get filled on these. And these kind of things, yeah, you want to put something in to fill them up a bit, but didn't really come up with anything that great. Tried to come up with, yeah, like a curve or something to sell them as tubes, and then didn't place it right. Not quite, anyway. That looks okay, actually. But no, then decided, you know what, I can do the same thing just freehand, so why not? And some background lights and everything, just give the impression of tech off to the side somewhere. Yeah, I think it looks all right. And always start with the faces because those are the things I'm most confident drawing. And then like get less confident the further away from face you get. I don't know about this texture for the clerg hand, the clerg skin. Um, it's not there yet. You'll see in a second. But yeah, no. So they've already gotten Popo's wallet. These space muggers. So here we go. I think I'm gonna ease up at least a bit, just because I'll say like this was at least partially in shadow, right? Yeah, no, I definitely think I need to ease up because otherwise this is just distracting and it tends to blend in if you're doing any kind of line work in the background. Don't need that. But I mean, it was fine for a close up. And of course, Popo's wallet is Velcro. It's the 90s. And I like to think vinyl. One thing I did miss out on. I every once in a while I'd think about like putting a metal chain on there. It's like, oh yeah, you gotta have a metal chain on there, and then I forgot to put it on. I don't know. Maybe I'll try and put it in still. It is kind of a tough thing to kind of white out in after the fact, though. At least from this angle. I might just draw it, like in on page 5. Oh, there's that texture. I don't mind this, you know. It's one of the things. It feels kind of. I'm not sure about lazy or if it's just like a maybe not the best choice sometimes, but like it usually ends up looking pretty good when I use it. I think. And yeah, we're gonna put in some more fake techie backgrounds. What is that in the background? Is that a door or is it a machine? Who knows? And this, I mean, this is also the thing is that Popo is largely in the dark here. Even more in the dark than he usually is. I like that chord there with the broken up kind of segmented wiring. Yeah, I think that turned out okay. Again, not a full homer, but like a solid double. I'll take that. And now we get to try and do the Clerg from an overhead shot, which is kind of the first time trying that, other than that panel in Blood Run #1 where Hard knocks a whole bunch of them flying. Yeah, they kind of did end up looking a bit too big here, but these are just the big ones. And his face ends up looking a bit too big for how small his head is here. Yeah, we're gonna do, and this stuff here is a result of having done the Cyberforce #0 commentary recently. Because there's a couple of, there's at least one panel in there where there's an operating table, and you get these kind of instruments all hanging down from the ceiling, pointing at the subject. That's a great look. And I'm like, shit, I'm gonna try that. And I like how it turned out. And didn't even have to do perspective on it. And these are just kind of random shapes. I'm hoping I can make look techy. And for the most part, I think I'm pretty successful. But yeah, all this stuff is time consuming. All this background stuff. I guess working on people is too, but I don't usually have to use a ruler. Maybe that's the difference. But yeah, so we're starting in. A lot of black on it ends up being on this page. I did, I think, miss a trick by not blacking in the panel borders. I'm thinking maybe I should do that. Although if I do that, then there's nothing like a panel like this. I don't know. Maybe I think maybe I should leave it actually because there's so much black in the backgrounds on these panels. It's actually going to be a little difficult to determine where a panel begins and ends, which is, I mean, can be an effect, but it wasn't the intended effect when I drew this, and it could just make it a bit more confusing to read. So I think I'll leave it at least for this page. I like at least for this sequence. And this techie stuff got a bunch of random lines all over it that ended up looking all right. I'm having some luck with the random tech lines. They're starting to work for me better than they have before. Probably part of it is that I'm trying different lines. You know, the ones that didn't work before, I'm not using those anymore. So. Yeah, here we get the clerk with their giant Timbit shoulder pads. Yeah, and let's fill up some black space. Because once it's blacked in, you can't do anything with it anymore. And that's a whole bunch of that panel eaten up now. But I mean, this was the intention, is to get like a spotlight deal going on. That's fairly cliche for this kind of deal, right? And there's bits of this panel that have felt where like I'm losing motivation, but I'm starting to get it back a little bit here on these the metal shinies. It's important to kind of like reinvigorate yourself somehow if you can every once in a while. And one of the ways I found to do that on this page is actually, since it's already like Simonson influenced, to take some of those Simonson metal textures, where he'll do like lines, like concentric lines up and down a thing, and then all of a sudden it's metal. So like in the clerk on the right there on his back, I guess on his right shoulder, there's that shiny with the just a little bit of hatching lines, and I don't know if I'd have normally tried it there, and they're a little wider than usual. And I think that was kind of a green light to try a bit more Simonson textures on this page. I can't do it too much. Yeah, see, you can see a little bit in like the collar area there. Yeah, we're just gonna go with a whole new face for Popo. Yeah, I can't do too many Simonson lines as a rule, I don't think. Just because my style does not mesh with his style. His style is, I mean, it's very much a Walt Simonson style. But it's also much more cartoony than mine. Mine is much more kind of Jim Lee-ish, I suppose. I don't even know what the heck it's similar to. But along those lines, I think it would fit in more at Homage than at Extreme. Maybe. Yeah, I'm getting close to finishing up this panel, so that's nice. And it ended up looking alright. He's got to draw Popo now himself. At this point, he does have his necklace, but that's okay because they're just putting him on the table. That looks alright. Yeah, that's all fine. And again, remembering last minute about the gloves. And this is a fun bit trying to sort out where to put his coat after the fact. Like where does that flopping around and just swirling everywhere? I've decided it's going to kind of have a similar effect to the Spawn cape. Same with his headband. But yeah, see the wider hatching there on the coat. And that's a little Simonson-y. Not necessarily with that texture is the only thing. But I kind of like how it ended up looking. Oh, and then we got this, of course. Yeah, this is almost like my version of Zipatone, this stuff. Okay, that's that panel kind of done. And I've reinvigorated myself enough to be able to do some tighter pencils on this panel. So, good stuff. And I've got a sketch out around this time that was kind of half Mark Texiera influenced, half like Scott Clark influenced. And it actually it felt like it carried over a little bit into this. So this particular, like the top half of this page is actually kind of influenced by what I'm reading, which is not usual for me. That looks all right. Yeah. And having some fun with the brush here. It's all right. And yeah, like that texture there, that's not really too standard for me, so it's fun to break out a little bit there. Yeah, these are more like Mark Texiera shadows, it feels like. So yeah, slightly Mark Texiera shadows on a slightly Scott Clarky figure, with a bit of Walt Simonson texture rendering. Yeah, that was what happened right there. Which is fun. I mean, I like how that kind of turned out, to be honest. Yeah, weird shadows on that forearm. Again, I don't mind it. All this stuff is fun. I'm just making up lines and making up shadows. And now we're just about out of fun stuff to draw because I got to do at least some backgrounds here. Unfortunately. And I don't really have an idea what I want to do, so it's not going to look that great. This is just space filling kind of backgrounds, and that never works well with me. If I have something intentional I want to draw, that's one thing. But yeah, if I'm just filling space, it never works out. Yeah, these lines got completely randomized. And I'm thinking when this book gets colored, the background here is all just going to get one color to it. Like a washed out, I don't know, teal or something, like, you know, like a greenish blue. Or a yellowish green, that might work. And then that'll help it just kind of fade off into obscurity. We won't have to talk about the backgrounds on this. And then, okay, cross-hatch them out to make them less prominent. And let's put some random panel lines on everything. I think that helps a little bit, but yeah, not a ton. And then we get some big tubes here. There's some Simonson lines for you. Oh, and that was it. Okay. Sure. Felt like there was more to it. But I guess not. Yeah, so that is Blood Force issue 2, page number 4. Not bad. Did a struggle sometimes. And still having difficulty convincing myself to just go all out on something sometimes. But, you know, it's getting there in places. Yeah, so I've started on page 5 now, so we're right on schedule. That's all right. Got a couple of new revisit videos that I've taped, so those are loaded and waiting in the wings. If you like this video, this is gonna be it. I'm at the end. People who made it to the end, when I said you wouldn't, you'd prove me wrong. Way to go. If you like this video, though, hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the notifications so you get told when I get shit sick. I'm tripping all over my words here. You'll get notified when I drop more videos. In the meantime, though, go over, follow me on Twitter. More importantly, go to my Patreon and subscribe there because I need more subscribers if I'm going to get Blood Force published at any point. And until the next video, thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.